No way.
Chair, can you hear us? Asian microphone.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Mr. Bartles, can you hear me?
You said yes.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
All right, we get.
Yes, I think we have audio now.
Awesome.
Thank you everyone for your.
Mr. Miller, you still there?
I am, yes.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I guess are we ready to get started here? Sure. I guess remotely we will have the call to order and a roll call, please.
Chairman Wrench.
Present.
Whoops. I'm on. Chairman Wrench,
Present.
Vice Chair Bartels,
Here.
Karen Malecki,
Here.
Alderman Hanneman,
Here.
Commissioner Remington here, Commissioner Cohen,
Here.
Kevin Schluter,
Here.
Mary Nix, here, Glenn Morrow,
Here.
Dale Borchert.
Here.
That's it.
Fantastic. I guess,
Mike, we're done.
Awesome. I guess we'll continue with the citizen comment period. Do we have any citizens wishing to make a comment at this time?
We do.
Fantastic. I guess could the first one pop up?
No one step forward, Chair.
Fantastic. Well, we will continue to move forward then. The approval of the meeting minutes from a long time ago, November 8th, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes of November 8th, 2021.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Guess the ayes carry. We'll move to item number 4, unfinished business. We'll skip A and come back to that one. Do we have an up? Oh, go right ahead.
We have a volunteer.
That is awesome. We love volunteers.
Jan. Jan has volunteered.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for volunteering, Jan.
Do we need
You're
to
welcome.
make a motion on that?
No, you can just appoint.
Fantastic, Jan. If you'd like to do it, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Isn't this wonderful?
If I may, we have several items, business, doing several folks in the room. Can't see or hear about oil shop part, if I put it up on the phone. I believe there's other. So.
I'm sorry, you keep cutting out on the online version. Should we move ahead and take care of the new business first?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any special one you guys would like to do first?
Should we begin with B, C, and D and return to A?
Sounds great. I guess we can start with C.
It's the best item to do.
We'll start with C. Request by City of Franklin resident Nathaniel Miller to install exercise equipment at Lions Legend 2, located 8717 West Drexel Avenue. Mr. Miller, how you doing?
See.
I'm well. Thank you all. I don't know if you can see me, if I should start my video or what
You
the
would
protocol.
like present, I can, like that, otherwise I have some slides.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. So obviously my name is Nathaniel Miller. I'm a resident, father of 2, actually a stay-at-home dad. In a former life, I was a strength and conditioning coach from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. First, I would just like to say that my family and I really appreciate the parks. Having two little boys running around all the time, and especially in the COVID environment that we're in, it has been an utter lifesaver to have all those playgrounds and to have all those facilities. It really has been wonderful. And I think that the parks are really living up to Franklin's motto of celebrating quality of life. Kind of on that note, as I was on a run with my 2-year-old, I ran across the calisthenics equipment that you all have in the park at Chapel Hill and Beacon Hill. And I thought that was an absolutely fantastic resource. Coming from the fitness realm and working with everyone from professional basketball players in the European leagues, all the way down to, someone first day in the gym walking in, it struck me as an incredible resource. I specialized with baby boomers, and a big goal for baby boomers is getting on and off of the floor to play with their grandkids. And I think that more of this equipment will really help people enjoy their quality of life. And this kind of equipment is very accessible for the broad range of individuals that we have in the community. So essentially what I'm proposing is to install 4 pieces of equipment in the Lions Legends Park because it's centrally located, because these pieces of equipment are able to do the main movement patterns that everyone needs. So to push weight away from your body, to pull things to your body, bend at the hips, squat, and perform stabilizing exercises with your abdominal wall. As I was doing research on this, I found that the calisthenics equipment that the parks already have, it's called Triactive USA, that really seems to be the best option out there. They have a number of things that are really attractive about their company. They're very competitive prices, very competitive shipping, very durable materials. While they sell a lot of equipment to parks, departments, and cities, they also have a large portion of their sales go to correctional facilities. So they're very durable, they're very tamper resistant, they're very vandal resistant. It's just, when I was speaking with the owner, one of the co-owners, it's essentially you bolt it down and it's ready to go. Another beautiful thing about it is that it relies on your body weight. So you're not having people manipulate weight plates or things like that as they're out in the park. So you can see the 4 different pieces of equipment that I'm proposing up on the slide. There are, if you look, let's see, in the packet that you have, there's a rough budget of what I would expect this to cost. These are all rough numbers, but the 2 yards of concrete for 2 separate foundations would be less than 500. I have a line item for each of the 4 machines and shipping, which has been estimated by the owner of Triactive. And the concrete was by a VP of sales, Hale Hankey at Schmidt's Ready Mix. I don't know if you all have any existing relationships with contractors, but the owner of Triactive was saying essentially it would take 2 hours or less to install this equipment once the concrete has been laid. So it seems like a pretty straightforward process. In the appendix, you can see where I would propose to have the these 2 stations of 2 each, these equipment placed. I believe that one station could be the pull-up and dip station, as well as the bench. That would allow more focus on strength training, and the pacing would be very different than the other station, which would be more of a cardiovascular station where people can hop on a bike, they can do the rowing machine, and get their heart rate up. Personally, I like this location because we can utilize the circular pattern on the sidewalk. People can stop at a station, do a few repetitions, go to the next station, walk around the circle, and continue that pattern. This is a park that I frequent with my boys, and there are a good number of people walking their dogs, and I can easily see them stopping and utilizing the equipment. Also, if the $10,000 bottom line is a problem, this is easily something that can be phased. We can lay the foundations and maybe purchase a few pieces of equipment or 2 or 1 and install those. And as funds become available, we can continue to do this. I also believe that this would be something that would be useful at other parks where there are lots of rooftops around, so we can really get the greatest return on investment for the city and for the residents. So those are the basics of my proposal. If you all have any questions, please, I'd love to hear them.
We've got a couple of questions for you, sir. Thank you very much for your time and effort, by the way. Appreciate that very much. Regarding the exercise bike and the rowing machine, are those adjustable to accommodate the 6'3" person and the 5'3" person?
So I don't believe that they are. The reason that they're not, to my understanding, is that they're trying to reduce the number of moving parts to make it more durable. They would be useful for the majority, the vast majority of Franklin residents, but I think in extreme situations that might be usable but uncomfortable.
Sure, that makes sense. Final question about those same 2 items. Any maintenance requirements for those 2, since they do have moving parts, whereas the bench and the dip rack or whatever dip machine does not have moving parts? So just any maintenance requirements we would have to concern ourselves with?
I am not aware of any maintenance required. One of the selling points for this equipment is that once it's bolted down, it is usable for many, many, many hours. I also found when I spoke with the co-owner of the company that they are extremely responsive, that if there are any parts that need to be switched out, that they can get that out to us very quickly.
Great, thank you.
If I may go ahead, this is Alderwoman Hanneman. And thank you, Mr. Miller, and thanks for making yourself available tonight. I do want to also assure you that your own alderman, Ed Hopfer, did stop by at the beginning of the meeting. He did speak to me in favor of your project. However, he did have to go downstairs for another meeting. So I just wanted you to know that. All in all, I think this is a great idea. The equipment looks good and sturdy. Like you say, it's pretty straightforward. I'd love to hear from DPW, who would obviously be responsible for the installation and maintaining and working around it in terms of what they feel is the appropriate location. And I guess the other issue then is budgetary. And am I understanding correctly that this would be seen as a park improvement and possibly eligible for park impact fees to assist with the expense?
When the park is selected for the project. Okay. I'm research there was some capital requests that don't recall whether that was so the appropriate
Mary Remington. We have another park where you have the pull-up dip station installed and the sit-up bench installed, and there's no moving parts on them, and they've held up really well. That's at Lake Ernie. But I would like to see how well the exercise bike and the rowing machine hold up. Have you seen them outdoors anywhere? In any other parks? Because what we've installed has no moving parts. And these two, I just can't understand how those are okay in the winter. Can you suggest any place we could go see how they hold up?
I have not seen them outside in person. Those are very good points. And if that is a point of concern, the two that we do have installed, and in fact, there are two others, I believe. There's I think that's in a back extension station and maybe even an inverted sit-up station. Even if we would take those and reproduce them in another park, that would be of a lot of benefit as well. If the moving parts are concerned, that to me, that's less important than having a pull-up station and that bench. This bench that I propose is a little different than the one that we have installed. It has a little more utility because of where the handles are. The bench that we do have, I guess that would be perpendicular to the long end of the bench. So it has more limited utility. That being said, if push comes to shove, the pull-up dip station and the bench would be tremendously useful and would be useful across the fitness spectrum. So even folks in wheelchairs can use the bench for pushing and pulling, and they can get quite a workout just with the bench.
My mic is on. Sure, can you hear me?
Texting, he can't hear you. Fine.
He is
Your mic
muted.
doesn't look on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You all were breaking up. I was having a
No,
little trouble.
there's no red light.
Chair, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now I can. We couldn't hear you
Ah.
before.
The microphone was on, but I had not turned it on the soundboard. I'm going to make a suggestion that the co-chair recognize members, since the chair, you probably can't see people raising their hands.
I cannot.
So, yeah. So folks have been doing that.
Anyone else have questions? Good.
So my question to the commission, is this something that you would like to include for consideration when we start to compile the 2023 capital requests? It has been discussed previously in sort of a broader context. So,
Yeah, I would think we should, and I would recommend that we do, since, as you mentioned, we did mention this type of thing during our discussions for the 2022 budget. So seeing that it's too late to get it included for next year, let's definitely keep it on the radar and see if we can get it done the following year.
I would agree with Mr. Bartles on that as well. We've talked about creating exercise facilities at other locations. I think it'd be a great idea to throw into the budget to get things rolling.
Alderwoman Hanneman?
And I would also agree with the addition that we determine what, if any, park impact fee money could be used to assist in the purchase. Do we need a formal motion on this?
Just gonna ask that. Do we require a motion for that, or?
you can take a motion. I'm going to start a file for the commission. So,
Okay, I will move to recommend Lions Legend Park exercise equipment proposal to be included in discussions for the 2022 or 2023 beg my pardon.
Just check.
Budget request for the Parks Commission.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay, now.
The ayes have it.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Mr. Miller. And I guess
Thank
we'll
you.
move on to new business, letter D. Request by City of Franklin resident Mark Hoppy to install a memorial bench in honor of his mother Caroline Hoppy in Franklin Woods Nature Center located at 3723 West Putes Road. Is Mr. Hoppy in person?
He's here.
Awesome.
You can sit up or you can join us at Yep, thank you for reminding me.
I'm interested in a memorial bench for my mom for the park.
Oh, 1 second. Can the folks on the phone, Chair, can you hear Mr. Hoppy?
Yes.
Okay, can you give us your name and address, please?
Mark Hoppy, 8863 West Lake Point Circle. Mr. Bartles.
Hi, Mark.
So my mom used to take my kids there when they were little. They're in their 20s, and they were probably 3 or 4. I believe it was before Kayla's Park. And I don't know what it was called then, if anything. But when I was a kid, it was Camp Arthur Davison, a Boy Scout camp. So kind of tells you how long ago that was. But so I just wondering what the cost would be, and I would like a uniform bench, whatever matches everything else, nothing special, but just to get a plaque or a placard, and what the procedure would be to move forward on something like that.
But if Mike was gonna chime in or not.
The last one we did, I believe Dale was like 750 plus the plaque for Tony Magna. I believe so, but I'm not. So it's right around the 750 to 900. The last time we did
Yeah.
it, which was in summer.
Okay with that. I just was curious, where would that be placed? In the woods or on the playground? Or is it a choice or whatever you have open, or?
Well, I don't think we'd want it in the woods, right, Dale? Want to keep it on the path, the walking path out with the asphalt. There are benches. We'd have to come to a mutual agreement.
Yeah, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, and would that be something the commission reviews? The siting of the bench, like where you put it?
It's their choice if they would like, if
Yeah,
not,
so,
we can work on it together.
Alderman Hanneman.
Yes, that's all right.
I'm new at this leading thing here.
And pardon my chuckle when you're talking about the Boy Scout camp, because I live along that park on the south side, and my husband grew up in that park and remembers it being a Boy Scout camp and all of the hijinks that went on back in the day.
No comment there?
So no, that park is particularly special to me. What I'm wondering, and this is just a personal opinion, there are a couple of benches in the trail along there that I really love. And rather than buying a new bench, would you, either for cost purposes or whatever, just want to dedicate one of those nice benches there already and put a memorial plaque to your mom?
Oh, I could do that too. Yeah, that would be fine.
You know, I think that would maybe be the way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you in there.
And my particular suggestion is just because I love the benches that are in the woods. I stop there frequently. I know a lot of people do. It's a great place to just take a breather and really enjoy nature and the wildlife that goes through there. And so that would just be my personal suggestion.
No, I would prefer that.
I would love that.
It's already established, and just a plaque on there, that would be fine. So,
Do we need a motion to go ahead and work with your department? Is that okay? All right. Well, then I move the approval of a memorial plaque to be placed on a bench in the Franklin Woods Nature Center in honor of Caroline Hoppy, and that Mark Hoppy work with our DPW staff to get that done.
Okay, and what's my next step from here?
You two can talk, or you and Dale can talk, whoever,
I will, well,
you know, wherever we had the plaque made for the last.
Okay,
So-
We'll work it out.
okay, all right, thank you. All right.
And we'd be happy to help with a little ribbon cutting or whatever. If you want to bring your family, take pictures and everything.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah, do we need a second?
Thanks,
Sure.
Mark.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. I guess next on the list, we're going to go to letter A, the input session for Ryan Creek.
Chair,
Yes.
if I could suggest item B as
Sure.
in boy, the Girl Scouts are here.
Sounds fantastic. Yeah, it's a school night too. Let's go with the request by 8th grade Girl Scout Troop 9379 to install bottle cap art at Kayla's Playground, located at 3723 West Buttes. The floor belongs to the Girl Scouts.
So, can you guys hear me? All right.
Oh.
Yes.
So this is our Girl Scout Silver Award proposal by 8th grade troop 937.
You have it on a different thing.
Already, and then apparently we couldn't hook up to your internet. So now they're a little flustered because it's a little different.
Well, I just want to.
Oh, well, don't worry about the animation. You don't need that.
So we are the 8th grade Girl Scout troop 9379. I'm Sydney,
I'm Emily.
and we've both been doing this and have been in the troop since we were daisies in kindergarten. And we followed through in the brownie years, junior years, and now we are cadets. And we have also already done a picket fence with our daisy troop at Kayla's Playground.
So what is our purpose? We intend to create artwork to enhance the enjoyment of visitors to Kayla's Playground and to make a difference in the community by caring for others. So as Girl Scouts, we gain skills like leadership, we gain confidence, we overcome challenges, and we learn about ourselves and around us.
Our proposal is that we will make bottle cap art signs to be posted around the perimeter of the playground. And we plan on having whimsical artwork that mimics artwork already on the playground, like butterflies, caterpillars, flowers, and ladybugs.
So specifics, each piece of artwork will be roughly 4 by 4 feet, 4 by 4 square feet and approximately 1 inch thick. For materials, all of the materials will be purchased from Menards by us. We would use exterior plywood, flathead wood screws, exterior paint, posts to install the displays into the ground, and plastic bottle caps that we've been collecting for the past.
And some more of the specifics is that the DPW will need to install our bottle cap art displays, and our troop will be in attendance for the work days if the DPW can do the installation in after school hours or on the weekends. And our troop would also like to install a donated by sign on the first bottle cap art by the entrance of Kayla's Playground.
So a first location that would work is like along the sidewalk near the bathroom, kind of like there's a like indicated by the arrow there.
And then a second location would be by the tree by where the picnic tables are. And since there is a tree there, we would plan on doing 2 smaller pieces on each side of the tree so that the tree would have room to grow.
And then anywhere along the east side of the perimeter would be like an ideal location for the artwork, because then you can like see it through the fence, like kind of away from the kids.
So our timeline is November 2021 was the initial contact. And then December 20th was December 20th was supposed to be today. It changed on our side, but apparently it didn't change on this one. So I'm sorry about that, but that is today our proposal presentation. And then January 2021, we are going to submit the paperwork to the Girl Scout Council. And then January to March 2021, we can build the bottle cap displays. And then April to May, we plan on installing the artwork.
So for maintenance and like upkeep, the DPW will need to mow around them if they're placed in like a grassy area. And if they're placed in wood chips, there won't be any maintenance.
Thank you for your consideration. We are looking forward to working together with you to further bring the enjoyment to the children and families of Franklin and the surrounding community.
Does anyone have any questions?
Now, you presented this to Shelley Runty? Assuming Shelley-
I reached out
Okay. Okay. Great.
Can I, how are the bottle caps fastened to the wood?
We have flathead screws that we will put into the wood to keep them on. And they do stay on for quite a while because mom actually did this with one for old schools and they've been up for like years.
Do they go right through the bottle cap?
Yeah, they just go like through the center of the bottle cap and onto the wood.
Yeah,
Hmm.
okay.
It's okay, we have 4 drills.
Mhm. That was gonna be my question. Excuse me, how many pieces of artwork totally are you planning on?
It doesn't really matter to us, just depending on where it's decided to be put, depends on like the amount of area that we have to make.
So did Shelley give any, Shelley Renty give any suggestions as to the number that would maybe be appropriate? Shelley looked. Like, yeah.
Do we have any questions or concerns from Kevin and Dale, DPW?
Dale, you got any?
One thing is, respect for permit.
I don't think so.
Mhm.
You know, like it is a sort of plastic bottle cap and a little.
Mhm.
I think with the yellow arrow, those are an area. If they're in the red areas, if they do touch them, I guess that your not all
So to ask the question a different way, are the screws shorter than the thickness of the board? So if you screw it all the way in, it won't go through the other side? Okay.
Yeah. And these are all plastic bottle caps, no metal bottle caps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dale?
Yeah, one more thing, Michaela's playground is area. Fortunately, to get. I guess if that man. Oh.
Bottle caps can always be out. Needing that part of it, you know, about.
Yeah, that would be my concern too with Dale. I agree that maintenance is always something we got to think about, but I mean, I don't want to see that stop the project, but
Right. Alderwoman Hanneman.
I mean, I'm generally very intrigued by this project. I especially like the recycling or upcycling, you know, making art out of trash sort of aesthetic to it. I think that's really, really cool and educational for kids that are playing in the park. I am concerned for the long-term viability, because we have had a situation in the community where there was another project that was done by an Eagle Scout, and it fell into severe disrepair. And I don't see this becoming extremely costly in the long run, but this particular project, it was becoming very costly to either maintain. We ultimately had to take it out of the park. And there was a lot of difficulty that went then in finding that scout who had installed that. So there was a lot of extra work, you know, that came on behalf of the commission and the Department of Public Works, and just making sure that things were communicated, or what should we do, that sort of thing. So, you know, we're looking a little bit more long-term, you know, looking 10 years down the road. I mean, it very likely would maybe become faded, or more bottle caps fall off, or, you know, you girls go to college and it's not so easy to maintain. So I would like to have that long-term vision of either maintenance or kind of a sundown on the project that would say, okay, you know, we'll have this up for a certain period of time, but then the understanding is that if it comes under disrepair or vandalized, and things start falling out, then it would maybe be retired at a certain point in time. And is that something that you're open to?
I mean, if it gets to the point that it has to like be taken down,
Yeah.
that's fine with us.
Yeah.
Another option with the young sculpture, that would be.
That'd be a great idea too. Yeah, that would be great.
Art girls that have younger
Mhm.
siblings, perhaps then, or
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm also.
Okay.
So that could be.
That being said, in my personal view, I would be in favor of the 3 yellow areas on the eastern perimeter. I don't know that I would be so in favor of the backup locations, just because there's so much traffic going there. And I just think there's a whole lot of opportunity for it just to be knocked down at some point. So, I would maybe be in favor of 3 there.
I would agree with that completely. Great points, great ideas. Outside the fence, kids still gonna go on the outside of the fence, but not nearly the number that's gonna be near the red arrows.
So are you making a motion?
I guess I can.
It sounds good to me.
If the
As
commission,
long
would-
as there's a sundown in there.
if the commission would like.
Could I,
um,
excuse me, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah,
Could part of your motion be subject to approval by Shelley Runty?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And yes, so you would have to work with the Department of Public Works and with Ms. Runty on this as well. So I will move to recommend 3 installations of bottle cap artwork by Girl Scout Troop 9379 at Kayla's Playground, subject to review and approval by Department of Public Works and Ms. Runty.
I'll second.
And what about
Well,
the sundown? What about if they get to be an
it's hard to
eyesore?
put a date on it.
What?
It's hard to put a date on when it would be.
Subject to DPW?
Yes.
Deciding it's an eyesore?
Yes.
Okay. I
So-
second.
Favor.
Oh. Okay.
I need to add the sundown in.
Yes. An amendment to the motion. That there be a sundown clause subject to the Department of Public Works recommendations.
Thank you.
Should we get a vote yet?
You gotta vote. On.
Well, I don't know if Mike was gonna check. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, great. Thank you, ladies. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Did Mike vote?
We also get the contact information.
Mike's always there. Fantastic. So I guess we're moving on to.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
There is one more, a citizen item, which was actually old business from the November meeting, the Little
Okay.
Free Library.
Yes.
Those young women are here as well.
Fantastic.
The busy
That would
night.
be, that'd be Kate and Abigail.
They're both here.
Fantastic. I guess we'll move to unfinished business F. Request by Kate Lee and Abigail Martin to place a Little Free Library in a city park. Ladies, it's yours.
So at the last meeting, we were asked to provide visuals of what a local free library would look like and how we would build that and what materials we would include. So there is a presentation slide in there of like how we would build and each step in the process, along with 2 drawings of what the whole thing would look like, and then details on what just the top would look like. Those are the drawings and pictures we have provided.
Have we determined which location this would go at?
Parks listed again in at the last meeting, one was so Christie Mackey, Ken Windle, Legends Park, and then Lion Legends Park.
Kevin or Dale, do you guys have any locations you would prefer or any concerns with the project?
I believe Lions has already, right? Yeah. Any of them?
There's one on the bike trail.
There was one proposed for Vernon Park, but I don't believe they ever came through with theirs. Yeah, okay, there's none.
Yep. Alderman Hanneman.
Is there one at Pleasant View? I'm thinking
It's-
not.
No, I don't know of any.
Because my recommendation would be, I don't know that you would need both at Legends and Lions Legend. Is there a place we could put in at Pleasant View that would be appropriate
As
You know.
long as it would be after the,
after everything? Yeah, that's right. We've got to finish
Yeah,
all that too, don't we? Any other thoughts?
Could put it by Lake Gurney. Near where Tony's bench is.
That'd be a great place.
That would be.
And of the two, Legend and Lions, which would be the better?
I would think Legend Park is more of the little children,
Legend?
I would think.
Mhm.
Don't you
Okay,
think,
so
Dale?
Are these
Suggested-
geared, oh, I'm sorry.
We just suggested not go to Lions Legend? No, Lions Legend. Which one did you say?
Legend Park, right across back of City Hall.
Okay,
Lions Legend Park is the
Lions
Vernon Park.
Legend is, instead of there, we put it at Lake Gurney near the bench. That we just installed for Tony Mega.
Just to clarify, you're only proposing to construct one,
Yes.
correct? Or are you planning on doing
They're
4?
proposing to construct 4.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask a question? So I might have missed this when it was presented originally. Are these geared more for kids or parents or both?
Go ahead. So the books that we got mainly donated were children's books, but we do have like some higher level, like high school level, and then there's a few like older books too for adults.
So I was envisioning like our parents grabbing them when the kids are playing and they want to read while they're, you know.
Yeah, there'll be, we're still working on collecting books. We do have many books already, but we're hoping that there will be a variety of different levels of books for anybody who decides to go sit down at the park.
So all levels then. I would go for the ones that are the most the most populated then, parents and kids.
Okay, and then that's not Lake Gurney. It's just walkers, no playground. So that would be.
That's just how I feel.
It could do.
Yes, Kevin,
Um,
please.
We just need to keep in mind that, we do have vandalism in parks, and quite often the books out of Kayla's library get trashed and ruined and wrecked, and we need to keep that in mind. It is more of a maintenance thing.
Right.
He was put down about 20 before all playground community. Try to drive it. Awesome.
Mhm.
And, okay.
Obviously, these, we're not going to be putting pole or posts into the ground for a couple months now. Do we want to consider locations at a later date and just move ahead with the project, or how does everybody feel?
Are all the materials considered exterior grade materials?
Yes, I believe so.
Have you guys purchased the materials already?
We have majority of our materials. The only thing that we need to gather still is the wood, the exterior grade wood.
Okay. If it were to be approved, would it be easier, Kevin, if you just gave them a list of the type of wood that you guys would recommend?
Can we put something together quick, Dale?
I guess as long as it's similar to. Yeah.
Are you open to suggestions on the material?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you say there was a one at Ken Wendell?
No, it's on the park, on the bike path. Right there, and yeah.
Okay.
Alderman Hanneman?
I'm comfortable then to go ahead and I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the placement of a little free library. 4 of them being Rathke Park, Wendell Park, Lake Ernie, and Legend Park. Provided that they be built with recommended materials from the Department of Public Works, and that they be placed in a location within those parks that is approved by the Department of Public Works as well.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Can we also get contact information?
Yeah.
You're gonna be the most popular guy in town, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. I guess we'll jump back into new business, letter A. Input session for Ryan Creek Trail Master Plan, moderated by Grafe Engineering and Design Consulting Firm.
And then there
Yep,
was,
they are here and ready to go.
Yeah.
oh. All right.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So we are with Grafe. My name is Dominic Marlowe. This is Joe Pepitone. I'm here in lieu of Craig Huebner, who couldn't make it tonight. So I'm going to attempt to answer everybody's questions. I was involved in this planning process as well. So we're looking for your input on the Ryan Creek Trail Master Plan. We've made some routing decisions, narrowed down some options, and ultimately want your input so we can continue the process that we are going down. So we're looking at an area of Southwest Franklin. It's about 4 miles wide, bounded by South 16th Street on the west, South 60th Street on the east, West Ryan Road on the north, and then the county line to the south. So currently, so this is about, so it's about 4 miles wide. It's about 2 miles deep. We're about a mile away from the planning area. So in terms of our approach for making decisions on where to route and make decisions between different route options, the first was recognizing that there are a lot of regional trail connections. If we zoom into this area, we can see the red, the green, and the purple lines all represent different existing multi-use trails in the region, connected to the northeast and northwest of the site. And ultimately, as this is the Ryan Creek Trail, we're really looking at the Ryan Creek, which is this water body going east-west across the entire area, connected to the Milwaukee County Root River Parkway green system to the east. So In addition to that, we looked at past city trail plans. So your 2010 Corp outdoor recreation plan, which will be on the next slide, as well as any relationship to publicly owned lands. Trail routing is of course much simpler when you go through publicly owned lands. And the relationships to any planned or future private sector developments, especially subdivisions, to make to inform any negotiations about any easements that would be needed on those property developments. And of course, to make the trail experience typical and pleasant for those using it, looking at relationships to environmental corridors and features such as floodplains and wetlands and steep slope areas. Those are both features and problems to solve when routing trails. So back in 2010, this corp was released with several trails planned. So you'll probably be able to see it better on your printout than on the screen, but there are dotted lines largely around road facilities. There is one going sort of through here that's going to mirror a lot of our plan currently to route the trail. And there's also snowmobile routes in this general area that don't necessarily inform the routing of the trail for us because snowmobiles and bikes don't share a lot in common. But I want to specify that this trail plan is separate from the sort of core outdoor recreation plan trails, and so they're going to be distinguished on future slides, and we tried to make that visually distinct as we move forward for clarity. So ultimately, we're trying to connect to the Oakleaf Trail to the east, the Root River line of the Oakleaf Trail, and then the existing Muskego Recreation Trail and the 116th Street trails to the west along 116th and I think Loomis Road, and then got Ryan up here. So it would ultimately, if the route goes through here, be around, it's a 24-minute bike ride as the crow flies. So let's say 30-something minutes to bike in reality. We wanted to mark, the important destinations along the way. So in addition to the Root River Parkway, there's the Franklin Savannah for the county-owned public lands. We're largely concerned with the lands not through county-owned land through here, but of course we need to understand those connections that are needed for coordination in the future. So those have also been distinguished in some future images. We want to, understand that as the plan for this what we've named future commercial destination in the Northwest outside of our sort of defined study area comes to fruition, that will sort of inform the sort of termination of the trail to the west. We've marked subdivisions along the way that may or may not be important to recognize for any easements that are necessary. The school, and then there's also this Milwaukee County RC airplane field, which we looked at for potential entrances from this street here. So before we get into our routing sort of draft, I want to specify that we're looking at 3 different levels of trail. And this is really to understand that, there's going to be primary trails, the ones you can bike down that are all wheelchair accessible, ADA, compliant, that connect to the regional system. And then we can also plan for secondary trails and tertiary paths to come off it that may not be as accessible, could be specialized for, BMX bikes or other types of recreation that are more, specialized. And then tertiary paths that are could just be a dirt trail going to a feature, don't necessarily need to connect to anything. They could be or they could be a loop or a little walking area. So that sort of is the level of importance in our decision. And so, when we're talking tertiary paths, those are more of a tertiary consideration in the process as well. Our primary route, and this is in more detail in future images, but is basically along the Ryan Creek into the Root River Parkway, and then splitting to the northeast to connect to the existing trail system, as well as southeast to other future planned trails, as well as we know there's some office and sort of like light industrial areas to the east here, which could be important east boundary considerations. We know those are north of Oakwood. I believe this is Oakwood. So if we add in secondary paths, these are more local connections to the trail system, largely around roadways. This path off here would be really connecting to some of those residential subdivisions I mentioned earlier. And then a connection to the elementary school here, and then more on-road connections off to the different edges of the study area. And then we could add in, tertiary paths as desired and as those plans emerge. And I think discussions need to be had about, whether those are phased in and in what way, if at all. So in terms of the trail design, we're looking at a 10-foot wide standard, asphalt path with a gravel shoulder. When entering it would be on grade for the vast majority of the route, unless it's entering into areas that have significant topography or environmentally sensitive aspects. And then there would be, multiple different crossing types. So if we're crossing roads, we'd have an at-grade intersection. There may be a mid-block crossing that needs to be recognized in certain locations. Underpassing some bridges that maybe have enough clearance for bikes and pedestrians to get under. Largely, though, bridges over no currently proposed bridges over roadways, but bridges over small creeks are in the current version. We're also looking at possible ideas for trailheads, and then wayfinding and rest stops would be sort of a future consideration during a design phase. We haven't identified anything for that at the moment. So this is what some of those features could look like. Pretty typical idea of what a bridge could look like, or an elevated boardwalk. On grade, next to wetland features, and then what an at-grade crossing could look like crossing the street. So what I wanted to move on to now is just to talk about any specifics about the trail route. So I believe the handout in front of you is going to have the best images. We've zoomed in on sort of going across the site west to east with little numbers indicating specific details, either about what is there or maybe why a specific decision was made at this point. Of course, we're here to receive input, so any additional details or questions you have will continue to inform these sort of routing options. So rather than walk through all of these, I'd rather make it more of an open discussion that we can sort of go through the different areas of the trail plan. But I will mention at a high level, we're looking at a connection along the south edge of Ryan Road. If we're moving west from the western boundary of the site, and then moving south along the southern edge of Bryan Creek. So we would use the road to get across here, move along the southern edge of Bryan Creek into public lands, and then cross to the northern edge of Bryan Creek is our current best route that we think will work, because there are fewer complex parcels that would need to be negotiated along the way. And then back into public lands on the eastern boundary, crossing either multiple connection areas onto, I forget what this road is, but 76th Street. Yeah, so multiple options across 76th Street into public lands, either through an existing sort of off-street trail in this subdivision, or connecting here, or both. So these are all options that we're currently looking at. So I can go to different Zoom areas for any questions you may have, but I will open it up to the commission.
If I may, commissioners, I'd also just like to remind you of where this is coming from, which is that we undertook the parkland acquisition study last year. And you, among the many bodies that reviewed that, took a recommendation of pursuing options that included park acquisition and trail choices. And then that was also included in the 2022 capital budget recommendation. So right now we're in the design step. Where is the trail going to go? So the Corp has a general location of the trail. And what I think they're really looking for is, are there concerns that you have about street crossings? Are there features that you think are important to touch with the trail? Are there places that you think it should not go or should go? I know you know the parks better than anyone, and Franklin better than anyone. So We're going to walk through it step by step, but this is where you get to say, I think the trail should go here.
And if I can just interject, this is also at still a very high level
Mhm.
planning exercise. So we've not walked these locations. That would be the next step in a different phase. But it's just kind of our best guess based on GIS, mapping, the core plan, all of that kind of gel together, the subdivisions, future development, and what seems to make the most sense at this time.
I'll quickly note also, just to explain the legend, the symbols for you. These are noted. There's little symbols across this map for at-grade crossings with a plus sign, a sort of bridge symbol or an underpass symbol up or down, and then these triangles are at a few locations to suggest locations for trailheads. So I just want to explain that in case it was.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is great. It's so exciting to start to see this take shape and become tangible, a step closer to reality. One of the things at the high level that jumps out at me right away, where going back to the slide on local destinations, and I'm kind of going back and forth between that and our primary and secondary paths. But we have the future city park down there. And we have the Franklin Savannah up there, as we all know. How that ultimately is going to look with residential development and parkland. There's been a lot of conversation and proposals about that with the Common Council over the past few months. I don't know, as I sit here, how that's ultimately going to shake out and what that's going to look like. But because we do have that area as a future city park, I'm wondering if we shouldn't also include that within the grand scheme of the trail. I mean, are we as a commission, would we be comfortable saying, no, we're not going to have any trails going down to that big future park at some point in time? So I'd love to see, even if it's a secondary path or a branch of the primary path, somehow loop down off of Oakwood Road through the future parkland. And I don't know if it can loop up, there's looks like a waterway green space, and I don't know if it can loop up along that back to Oakwood Road to the primary Ryan Creek Trail or not. I know that's more expense, I know that's more, but I think at least conceptually, it's something we should think about. You know, it may be 20 years down the road, but I think we should have that on our radar if we're planning this whole quadrant for trails. But otherwise, I think, you know, the paths that we have laid out so far look pretty good.
Do you know, I'm sorry,
Commissioner Remington.
do you know exactly where the Oak Leaf Trail is going to travel down here? Do you know what the county has planned? Is it going to be on this side of the river or that side of the river? Or is it going through that airport land?
So as far as we know, we don't have additional details from the county. I don't know if Glenn and Marion have any comment on that.
The last version I saw, quite honestly, been outdated because they, I think the official route still shows it going to the old interstate crossing. So basically has to cross over to the next county, cross the interstate. So knowing that we have Elm Road Interchange now, I think the informal master plan has been changed. It's still, the last sketch I saw shows the trail going, if you will, say behind the fire station. So it'll go along Ryan Road, then head south along the, it'll stay on the east side of the river and continue down, cross 60th Street, just south of Oakwood Road, across where the Waukesha is discharging their stuff, their return water, and then it meanders over with the intent that it will come out Elm Road. So the dash line that you see on the right-hand side of your screen there, that is very close to what they're looking at. I think that is river, correct? No, so the fatter line, yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That's the Oak Cliff Trail?
That's what?
That's the Oak Cliff Trail?
Yeah, the extension of the River Oakleaf Trail.
Okay, so as soon as it comes to Oakwood, it's gonna start cutting over towards
Yes, it's gonna head,
east.
yeah, it's gonna head east. Elm Road would come out about just beneath where you see that arrow at the bottom. You can move your cursor a little down a little bit.
That one?
The next one up.
Oh, this
No, down, right there.
one. Sorry.
Yeah.
In the middle.
So that's Oakwood Road that you see. Oh, so let's describe it this way. So you see Oakwood Road there, and Elm Road will be halfway between Oakwood and County Line. So if you move your cursor down, just down, up, right there, about right in there. So
But east.
yeah, but over east.
We don't have a Zoom.
No.
I'd just like to echo Alderwoman Hanneman's comments. I had that noted as well, that I think it's imperative that at least some sort of plans incorporated to have some sort of trail to the new city park that's proposed down in that southwest corner. I think it's part of our vision, part of the plan of the connectivity of the city itself, and to eventually have a nice park down there and not be able to bike to it would be not a good thing.
Right.
I was gonna say tragedy, but that was kind of too strong.
If I could
Yeah.
ask, just to make sure I'm understanding the feedback appropriately, would it be possible to maybe mark up the map you have?
Sure.
And I could like
You bet.
take a picture of that before we leave.
You bet.
If people want to
You want to roll it out?
look at the whole map, we could even roll it out real quick. and people could look at more details.
Where you have the secondary coming down there, making that loop, it's really not that far below there.
Yeah.
That would be the city, the new city land.
And that's a softer line because like you said, that residential development is going to determine a lot of, I think,
Right.
the routing of that, but definitely we want to connect down here in some way.
Yep, that's exactly what.
Access through the park. Okay. I see. Thank you.
You're technically touching.
Yeah.
The idea was.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, that's helpful.
And it's really just kind of going down along the road into the park and then just following that, that green space back up to Oakwood.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I like the route you're taking, the dark one.
I do too.
That's really through beautiful land in there.
Are there any
What's a,
features in that area, like high points that are interesting or like trees that are important?
There's a lot of, well, it's called Oak Savannah. There's a lot of
Yeah.
oak trees towards the east end of it. And it's really nice where the river is cut through deep gorges in there.
Okay. That's something that a future design step, we can then start to actually say like, this would be a good place to put a bench.
Maybe a future park tour, go back there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Get out a machete.
Yeah, I've never been
Now that
there.
you've had the info, want to alert you. This is DPW is up here, 80th Street. The idea is, you think, so we've already told DOT that we want to put some trails along Line Road, go from here all the way up to St. Martin. Actually, eventually you'll be able to go here all the way up to Hill Corner. In addition, we told DOT that we want to have them next time they do some work. Loomis want to put some trails, all trails. On one thing we'd like to maybe do this year, we actually project like this started in. Noticed that school owns this area. They talked publicly about playgrounds and such. Talked about putting a trailhead that they would go by Zurin, like a cul-de-sac. We might extend that, like a small parking area, maybe a restroom facility, kind of. And then that trail would help connect the major trail to the DOT.
Would you like to zoom in on that section of the material? That'd be helpful. Yeah,
That's it.
be a little better.
So yeah, this is the new subdivision, Oakwood and 76th Street. Of course, there's a subdivision also. So the idea is that along this trail, you can stop here for a trailhead, maybe a water ball or something, and not be parked up on the trail. We'll connect eventually to the river trail. Where you can, so obviously, if you have some money to spend, so valuable, interested in helping us out. They've also talked to them about this is really, regardless of what they ever decide to build here, so wood, and it's really tough to build anything. Talk to them about possible trail along here, permission to do that, and we're like to move forward with that if outcome study. Suppose there were for athletic field or something here, might be eligible for some if I was to could be maybe one of these over here. 12-year-old can hop on the trail, basically interaction with cars.
Why is that little triangle there? What is,
Triangles are trailhead.
no, it's not a triangle. It's a triangle in the yellow. That, no,
This.
to your, towards you, down. The yellow triangle, right there.
It's a trail.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Multiple
why?
trails.
Why
Sort
doesn't
of,
it,
sort of a split. It's
what's the purpose of it?
so the proposal is less that all of those would be built. I mean, it could potentially, but rather that these are all like priority options that are equally good. And like you said, there's a lot of up in the air about that area.
if I stick around.
It doesn't seem like there's a purpose for it though. I mean, it could just go along the river, couldn't it? Because it's going in both directions anyway.
And so I mean, you may want to go this way, you may go that way. I think
You might be able to get rid of that connector.
That's what I'm talking
And then-
about.
Yeah. So it's really that if this gets built, then this will get built. If this got built, I mean, this is already here, but if this is used for the eastbound connection, right, then it would connect down here. I think it's really more of an either or.
the thing is, if this were built later, you had something up here, people would find a shortcut.
The circles on.
What's the timeline for this project?
Well, this project is just.
Right.
So we get, that something set in place, so all these subdivisions proposed. We'd like to say, hey, look, here's a plan we adopted. As far as this project, I think I would like to start with this money.
Do you know when the school district is planning on using that property?
Do not, right now, all they've officially said is that they, some sort of athletic.
And Glenn, could you remind me, because we do have this in the 2022 CIP budget, correct? Yes.
And as far as features, you'll ask about features. Let's cross the several times. That kind of a dream I'd like to. One of the old bridges I could tear out. Bridges of the home over here. Conversation with some DOT folks. Maybe. Just said he'd come build me one.
All right, anyone else? Chairman Wrench, anything?
I've got nothing. I think Alderwoman Hanneman and Mr. Bartles expressed the concern I had with making sure it leads to at least gets us to the new proposed park down the road. But thank you very much, guys.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, yep, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Looks good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
fantastic.
So moving back to the meeting notes here, we are in the unfinished business. I guess we've already done A and F. Do we still have E, the proposal by the Lions Club to donate a bench from the City of Franklin Recycle Community Event? Is anyone present for that?
There's no one present here for that.
Okay.
It's already installed.
Well,
For item
okay.
E. Item E is done.
E is done, so we'll cross that out.
Installed.
Fantastic.
Deal.
On time, within budget. Just kidding.
Dale did it all.
Good job, Dale. Well, I guess we'll jump on letter B, update on parks maintenance.
Got anything, Dale?
Pretty much the parks are all shut down.
Did you put that in for that one?
Which one?
E.
Here?
The bench is already installed.
I was just saying, I guess pretty much the parks are shut down for the winter. It doesn't look like there's any rentals until spring signed up for. We're plowing the trails as it's snowing. And one of the goals we have right now is just to clean up some yard waste that some residents next to the parks have dumped in the parks, trying to clean some of that up and make sure it doesn't happen anymore. And I just wanted to mention, I guess in the near future, a couple things to keep, just a heads up. First thing is the floor at Kayla's playground, the rubber floor. It's going to need replacing, and I understand it's been taken out of the budget, but I guess just that's really kind of an urgent thing at this point. The second thing is the tennis courts that you've heard about before. There's several of them at Legend Park is one of them, and at Jack Workman Park, 2 tennis courts that are in pretty bad shape, so they're going to need some work real quick. And also, there's 3 playgrounds that need replacing in the near future. One at Legend Park, one at Glen Meadows, and one at Jack Workman. So I just wanted to mention those. So maybe you haven't heard of that before because they're kind of. We went through probably 5 years ago and replaced some parts at some of the at playgrounds, but I don't know if that's the answer because a lot of the other parts at the same playgrounds are deteriorating. So they're almost going to need a new playground at these parks. So,
Dale, could you repeat those 3 parts, please?
Legend 1, or behind the city hall, behind here, Glen Meadows and Jack Workman.
And what was the other tennis courts beside Jack Workman?
Legend 1, there's 3 tennis courts.
Thank you.
Those are the worst. Others have cracks, but they seem people are playing on them, so I don't know if they're acceptable. Apparently they are. So, but those are the worst ones. Any questions?
Thanks, Dale.
Letter C, uniform signage for all parks.
Yeah. Ms. Rundy isn't here this evening. She's excused, so if you would like to table the item until your next meeting, staff doesn't have an update.
Sure, we can do that. We will table that. I will move on to letter D, park permit fees and deposits for rental of pavilions and other facilities at all City of Franklin parks.
Actually, that would be me. I think I brought something up at one time that I sent to a few people. But maybe some of you haven't seen it. It's kind of looks like this. When I first started this, I wanted to make sure that I knew what parks were in Franklin and stuff like that. I've lived in Franklin for a really long time. And I was surprised. I was happily surprised that there are so many parks in Franklin. I was amazed. But the thing, when I went to the website to look everything up, I was a little disappointed because it seemed like you had to go to so many things to get to so many places to find so many things. So in my past job, I worked at the Greenfield Parks and Rec, and I did a lot of the park maps and stuff there and stuff. So I went and I made a map that puts everything together that if you want, you can pass this around. It actually was supposed to be printed like this so that you have a nice little greeter. What this is intended to do is just so residents could see where our parks are. And then I have the trails on there and little things on there that would help them out. I don't know how you wanted to use it. We could put it on the website. You can get them printed up. Just little things like that. I think as residents, if you're new to Franklin, you're not going to know any of this stuff because it's just not there, that you don't see it and stuff. So I just took the time and kind of worked something out. I know that it would have to be looked at probably with DPW or someone that's real familiar with the parks and kind of go over it and see if you want to do it. I put like the purplish kind of things. Those are your main parks. Those are your rental parks. So I kind of put those down. I know it's like you're looking at this for the first time, but that's kind of how it was when I was looking at it. I was just like, this is not very coordinated. And the first thing that I did, and you probably have a copy of this too, is kind of like the permits. Like if you were to rent something, there was a lot of stuff missing that I thought should be there. It's just suggestions that when maybe next year, because I know you already started the process for the permits this year, which would help DPW because it kind of says what your deposit, like, it never said anything about the deposit, like where you get back if you don't. And so I kind of explained it and stuff in there. So there's two little articles in here. If you want, you can hand this one out because the yellow stuff is all the stuff that I rewrote or just suggested to do. You could just pass these out. Yep.
This is yours.
Yeah, that's the first one. I was just kind of playing with it. And I just thought, well, someone should see this and maybe it'll grab their attention or something. So it's not that I just wanted just to make some suggestions that maybe it would be helpful to DPW, and it kind of explains things more when they're filling out the permit. Does that all make sense a little bit?
I think this is awesome.
I do too. Love it.
Yeah,
Really
so
awesome.
this could be, like I said, used as a flyer. So if you printed it out or went online, you could have this and they can blow it up and whatever and look at it. But it's just telling people what you have because they're going to be very surprised, because I was actually surprised how many neighborhood parks there was and things like that. It's kind of awesome. I included the Milwaukee County parks because they're all there also. I mean, people are using them all the time and how everything's connecting and stuff. So this is perfect. So that would be something that could be added in and stuff like that. So anything like even proposed parks could be kind of a different color put into the map and stuff. And we can work on, I'm more than willing to do that for my little city here, you know. Beautiful. So for Greenfield, I did like all the graphics there. So like when you do signage and stuff, I'm looking at that, I'm going, ooh, but you guys already have done that stuff, so I didn't, yeah. So if you ever need anything that you're looking to do, I can help you out with that. What's the buzzing? Is that me? Yeah, so this is just something, I just put it out there. I think it would be helpful. Especially like if you go to meetings and stuff, the mayor would probably be happy to give them a flyer and say, hey, look what we have and stuff, because I know we've done that before. Also helps you get grant monies. It also helps you get little stuff that you're looking for that you can just say, here, this is what we have, this is what we want to do. So I just threw it out there.
It is very beneficial. It's really.
Yeah, so I would like to have someone sit down or whatever and tell me what's wrong or what needs to be added, or especially in the writings I did a little bit of explain what's at the park and stuff like that. I just pulled it from the website and stuff like that. So, and I know this is an ever-changing thing, but if we could get something down.
Got it formatted. Marion, you had something?
First question is
I use Illustrator for the map. So I use Adobe programs, and I use InDesign for the graphic. So I just move the map into there. And so everything is, I can make it into a PDF or anything that you want. So.
I'm sure that
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to check. I've got a couple of times. And you have on the website. So you could ask staff to like that. And my other comment is like, thank you.
Thank you.
Actually have a map.
That is correct. You do not have one.
So it's really nice for us. So.
Let's.
Right. No, it's good. That's why I'm retired now. So I'm so bored. So I just took a stab at it and thought, I did Milwaukee counties a long time ago. So that was much bigger than this and stuff like that. So this was quite
That is
easier.
awesome. I think this is fantastic. I can't wait to add a page with all of our trail maps on it too. But don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
No, that's, yeah.
But maybe I would maybe make a suggestion for our next meeting. If we all want to read through and maybe forward any comments to Marion, and we could discuss and finalize, and then we could put it up on the website. I just would want to make sure, with the park pavilion, with the permit application, that everything, I would maybe want the city clerk's office to take a look at that too, and make sure that everything was the way she needs it to be.
Right. I actually made copies of what the permit looks like. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's funny because like 25 years ago, I rented the park, and I swear this is the same permit that was from then. And it's just so outdated and stuff, like put the new logo on. It's just so, yeah, it just kills me when I see stuff like this. So I'm probably not the only one, but maybe I'm the only one that cares. But it's nice to be presenting, you're renting it out to residents and non-residents, and to present it very nicely and clearly is really what you want to do. I feel like such a brat, but it's just like, so if you're doing it, like if you were first coming in and you go to your website and you say, oh, I want to rent a park, there's nothing there. It's just like, oh, okay, there's Lions Legend Park and there's this and that. And it just should be maybe a little cleaner.
That's beautiful.
I assume Chairman Wrench hasn't seen this. We need to be sure and get him copies of this.
Right, he might have seen like the first original from this, the one that you have here with the yellow, that's just all the stuff that I changed. There's things like, there's a lot of mention of like alcohol on the print and stuff. I think you guys need to maybe revisit that, because you don't want to have hard alcohol. It should be just beer, wine, like fermented alcohol, because no parks have hard alcohol anymore. There's none. So maybe that's something that you have to put on the agenda or something and have a discussion about that, because you don't want to promote that you're having alcohol, because it just turns into one huge party that turns, people have to drive home and stuff like that. It's not a good thing. Like,
You're about a year late.
what?
You're a year late. You should have been here when we made the park reservation. The
Right.
parks and park signs and.
Yeah, well, I knew that, and I was just biting my tongue, and I didn't want to. That was my first day. Yeah,
And we
because
probably-
I've done like most of Greenfields, their signs. If you ever go to Greenfields and you see their signs in their parks, that's all something. I had a park in there. There's our part in that. So
I think we would also want to, oh, well, we do say no commercial sales, but I think we would want to maybe specify food trucks.
Right.
Underselling.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah,
just
we went
changed
through
that. Yeah, you kind of just changed that. And usually in at our old job, like this permit thing, we would always approve it and change it like once a year. We'd, as a committee, you would look at it and make your changes and stuff and make it like in August or something, August, September, so that it's ready for the next year. So this is something that I don't know. It's yeah.
On the surface, it looks awesome. Looks great.
Like in like the security deposit, like that should really be in there, because you guys kind of were talking about that the last time we met and stuff, and I thought, okay, you need to explain this, that you're not getting all your money back if there's damages. Also, like probably you want to say that you want to be 18 and over to take out a permit. It's nowhere does it say that on the forms that you have, just because you're responsible, and it kind of tells you you're responsible for it. Yeah, so there's like things when you start reading, you're going, oh yeah, why didn't we do that before? So and then I put all the parks together also, because why do we need a separate form for, like every park has its own form, but it's all says basically the same. So yeah, one form is good. So I think someone, if we can just discuss this or something, maybe read it over next time, look at it and again, yeah. Yeah.
So Marion, you're gonna have staff look at it and
They'll call, make sure the chair copy and
and who else, the clerk?
yeah, the first office do it. They handle the.
Okay.
So there's kind of several different departments produced and reviewed all these materials, so I am. The first office.
Yeah.
All right, great. And then the commission will review and send you email comments, okay? And then we can revisit this next month.
Right, and don't be afraid to mark it up or whatever. I'm okay with that, or make notes on it so that I can follow it through and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe you emailed me. Earlier.
Yeah, yes, I did.
So I will distribute it by email.
Okay. Right, and
You want-
changes, I'm okay with changes, so.
Are there extra copies? I can drop them off to Chairman Ranch.
Yeah, I only made 12 of them, I'm sorry, but
The number I would make, so.
yeah, you
That's
can
fine.
make more, you have a low
What about-
resolution.
What about this one? Is there another one of these two or no?
Well, there's
This was-
one in your packet, but I just, the things that I changed, I made in yellow so that you can understand what I changed. The
But
stuff
this is what
that's-
you envision the final.
Yeah, but not in
thing.
yellow, but.
Right.
Yeah, but so there's
Okay,
things on there that we should look at and question,
Thank
you
you.
know, like a little bit.
All right, I've got an extra one.
Okay.
So I will take that
But
and
you know where I'm coming from, right? And so even these things, I alphabetized all the rules and stuff and kind of put them so that there were some kind of consistency.
Thoughts going forward on this too. It's not on the agenda, so it's a
Yeah.
different topic, but I have some thoughts that I'd love to share at some point.
So
on
don't
it.
forget now, it really gets folded like this. And then it opens up into the map and then you're seeing it the right way. This one they made as a poster. And I didn't want them to remake it because they gave it to me for free, so. So it really, so this is upside down. So this is the correct way. But that's your front of welcome to Franklin, yes. Yeah. You see, now you get it. She likes it. Yay! But it just needs some work and I just, yeah, you guys, you'll like it.
Love it.
Even sending it to other, for grants and stuff, it works really nice as an overall.
Thank you for your work on that.
Yay,
Yes.
yay. It's fun. It was fun actually doing it because I was truly surprised as to how many parks you had and I've lived here a long time. So it's like, yeah. And then some of the trails I put in, it took me forever to find out where the trails were. There's a website, I think it's called All Trails or something. And I'm like, well, where is it on here and stuff? So, yeah, so nobody, if I don't know where they are, everybody else is gonna have a hard time finding them. And you want them to use the trails, especially now when you're doing new trails that are coming in and new parks coming in. The more that people know about them, the more they use the parks and stuff, and you want them to use them. Maybe not all the neighborhood parks as much. I'm sure they're not happy, but they're there, you know.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Now, since it's done in Illustrator, we can always blow these up too. You can make them nice maps out of them and stuff like that. You obviously, you guys know that.
Post them in City Hall.
Yeah, post them in City Hall. Yeah. What it's meant for. It's a little promotion for Franklin. I
The
think,
next newsletter insert.
yeah.
I'm thinking fundraising calendar.
Oh, yeah.
That would be actually, that's a really, really good idea, the calendar. Yeah, you're open. It's seriously, you have me now. I'm here.
Yay.
So now you have a different outlet to do things that you probably couldn't do before because no one knew how to do them or something.
Well, and sometimes a really fresh eye is a good thing too.
Right, I'm not sure why that is happening.
So on this thing too, I put the community services and organizations and clubs. And the only reason I did that is it was just to fill the back page and stuff. But I think to get more people to join those clubs and organizations and stuff like that, let them know they exist. Like, but so that was my filler thing and how to reserve a park, how to really to get to this thing. So
On the back.
yeah, on the back thing, it has all the clubs and organizations, and I don't even know which ones are. Yeah. Well, she's laughing.
Well, the city engineer has a very silly joke about the Lions Club. Where do they meet?
Oh, I know.
Where do they meet?
They
Lions
at a-
Got it again. It's like you should stick it on there and see if anybody ever catches it. But I'm bummed.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna quarantine next month.
Okay, so if folks want to get me feedback on this, and like I said, we'll route it.
Well, you have all my information. You can just keep sending it to me or whatever, so we can have it for the next meeting.
Excellent.
All right. And then see what we want to do.
Good.
I don't think the mayor has not seen this map unless you shared it with him.
Nope.
So he's gonna be a little surprised by it. He might have some ideas what he wants to do. I don't know. But there's a lot you can do with the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Fantastic.
Anything else?
I believe we have, what is it, G, the City of Franklin Code of Conduct and Ethics for elected and appointed officials.
I believe a few of you still owe this item, so I know some folks either didn't receive it or need new copies. So if that's the case, please let me know. Or if any of you brought it this evening, I can turn it in for you tonight. Sure.
There you go. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I put mine in the mailbox thing out there. Yeah, okay.
That should work. Okay.
Fantastic. I guess the next meeting date, I believe, is February 14th.
Valentine's.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else, I guess it's
I will make a motion to adjourn.
fantastic.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Fantastic.
I know it
Is it
always
always
is.
this cold in here?
Lately.
All right. We hope you feel better soon there, Michael.
Oh, I'm not the problem.
No.
Thank you.
I was
Excellent.
like,
Take care, guys.
Last week, I was
Hanneman.
here for plan commission. Oh my gosh, it was ice cold in here. It's better tonight than it was then.
February 14th.
14.